Let me just give you a short list of what I think we could do. And by the way, on tenure for teachers, I truly believe we ought to take a long and hard look about tenure for K-12 teachers. For higher ed, I suppose tenure is a good thing, but for K-12, because we have prescribed standards, unlike we don't have in higher education, that teachers have to kind of teach within that framework of standards. I am really wondering why we need tenure. They have a union contract. If they feel they are treated in a way that is capricious or arbitrary, to grieve that concern. But what do we need to move the school system forward? Wait, before I get there, I had to respond to Joan because she's absolutely right. The legislature micromanages the system way too much, and I don't know if Karen Munley should stand up. She's at the Board of Education now. And so if you think something's wrong with the board, I want to give a human face. You can blame her. Usually there's this kind of amorphous blob thing.
Is your microphone on?
I don't know if it's on. I don't even know how to turn it on. It is? Yeah, yeah. So I do believe the legislature, we do micromanage the system way too much. And I do during, this is my 8th year as education chair, I have resisted efforts to do that. Let me give you a couple of examples. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, and I don't care if you're the governor. The governor's STEM initiative, frankly, intervenes in the operating of the schools to say schools shall have robotics teams or whatever the case may be, and we're going to provide the resources. Schools find it very difficult to resist when you provide resources for them to do something which they may not do otherwise if they had to come up with the money. So let me just give you some example bills that get introduced at the legislature over the years. Like Joan was saying, mandated bicycle safety training, mandated CPR certification for our graduating seniors. My favorite one, mandated sunscreen curriculum in the schools. The sun is a bear in Hawaii. And so to protect our children, age-appropriate sun curriculum, take an inventory of all the shade trees on your campus, and then if you don't have enough, what are you going to do to mitigate the effects of the sun? Sexual harassment, age-appropriate sexual harassment curriculum, and on and on. That, to me, is inappropriate for the legislature to delve into. That should be under the total purview of the board. But these are well-meaning, well-intentioned colleagues. And I think the biggest reason is because, you know, when I was Ocean Recreation and Marine Resources Chair, long name, surfing committee, basically, I know nothing about fisheries management. I know nothing about marine conservation, so I had to learn. But all of us went to school. And so all of us are experts of what needs to get done to improve our schools. And as you know in the legislature, all you need to do is to have the ability to sign your name to a bill. And people do that. Let me finish off by saying what I think we should be working on. Kind of strategies we should be approaching in the school system. First, establishing quality preschool education for all 3 and 4-year-olds in our state. There's no denying that is the best and biggest investment we can make in our children, and it gets the biggest bang for the buck. Adopting a core curriculum. Despite what the governor said, that we have a top-down, monolithic, one-size-fits-all approach, curriculum in our system is decided upon not only by the individual school, but by the individual teacher. It is a kind of anarchy approach to curriculum development. Ongoing professional development. We have zeroed out professional development dollars last year and this year, but how are you going to get a highly effective teacher, not a highly qualified teacher, I don't believe in that under NCLB, but a highly effective teacher in the classroom without ongoing professional development? Promoting principals as leaders of their schools and giving them as much flexibility, autonomy, and authority as we need to, and holding them accountable to that. Ensuring our campuses are safe and promoting a healthy learning environment. Kids do not learn if they don't feel safe. Involving partners such as the military, unions, nonprofits, and businesses in our schools. Reconstituting low-performing schools. 7 high schools in our state are responsible for over 40% of our dropouts. We ought to target these schools and have the ability to go in and say we're going to remove the adults in that school because it's not the fault of the children, and reconstitute that school. Okay? And last, increasing instructional time, whether it's days or in hours. Now, all of these have had bills introduced All of them have not passed, but none of these, frankly, have come from the administration, either during the time Professor Roth was the education advisor to the governor or subsequent to that. I would assert to all of you that this takes heavy lifting because educational reform is very complex and very difficult to do. So I would ask all of you, and the professor as well, to join us in this effort to do that. And rather than launching platitudes and bromides against the system, do the heavy lifting that education requires. Thank you.